We'll get some predictions up very quickly for you guys as well. Multitasking streamer. Amazing. Top right hand side, again, this is a best of 5, so keep that in mind. Let's see what happens as we have our blue Zerg play. A little bit of a kerfuffle in the first game of the day for him, but looked pretty good since then. This is Rogue. Let's see how he does in the winners matchup. Bottom left, our yellow Terran player is Kelazhur from Team Liquid. We'll see if he can pull off an upset here in the TVZ. See what he's got planned for us. See if he can bring it to Rogue in this best of 5. Both our best of 5s yesterday in Group A did go all the way to Game 5. Gumiho came out on top of Ragnarok in the winners match, and Ragnarok beat Astrea in the decider match. Of course, Geralt is waiting for potential revenge on Kelazhur. He was winning that game too, lost it, let it slip away after a rough game 1. So, yeah, we'll see if that happens. I assume Geralt is going to be cheering on Rogue pretty heavily, generally, even if Rogue looks a little bit shaky sometimes in these cups. I think you'd prefer to play Kelazhur than Rogue on any given day. And you guys can pull the start data. See as a starting map is quite a large one. It's not bad for Terrans either, though. You know, I feel like Zerg's quite like this, but Terrans have some good pushing potential on this map. They can get into some good positions. Like, yes, the map can get to a lot of bases for Zerg, and it can really slow down a lot, but I don't feel like it's a guarantee that it gets there. The Terrans have good options before that point in the game. For being a larger map, it definitely provides some alternatives to this just being like sit back and do nothing, right? So I've been enjoying Data C for this matchup. We'll see how Kelazhur and Rogue play it. Does seem like Kelazhur's been playing pretty well lately. Yeah, Kelazhur obviously went full time again. When was that? About, I think at the start of this year or so. And I really feel like him being full time again is showing quite heavily. Honestly, like I feel like you can notice that he's really paying full attention to the game. His games seem a lot kind of stronger. I feel like he's been making some great choices in games. And he has had strong results, I would say, so far. Yeah, he's not every tournament is like an epic blast for him, and like it's amazing. But I mean, qualifying into this tournament, he came through Showtime in a 5-game qualifying series as well. So, Kelazhur definitely showing us that he can fight the very best at the moment. It definitely has been playing well as of late, so that's very exciting. Let's see the Reaper hanging around over here, obviously not finding too much early on, no kills or anything. Obviously ramp up into the natural makes it difficult to do too much. You can't even really deny the creep teamer very easily when the ramp up into the natural is there. It's a little bit too difficult to really pull off a lot of the time, so yeah, can't do too much in that regard. And as the Reaper pokes at the front, the Queen is there straight away to say, nope, get out of here, little Reaper. Come back again another day. He's actually going to get the creep teamer now, though, so actually this does work quite nicely. Reaper gets away on 1 hit from death. Yeah. What were the rules for getting a bye to round 2/playoffs? You don't get around to the bye to the playoffs, you get a bye to group stage 2 if you are in the top 8 players from WardiTV 2022 points. So if you go on the Wikipedia page, there's a page that says standings. The top 8 players on points there are the players that got the bye into group stage 2 if they were in the tournament, which 7 out of the top 8 were, and our 9th place player is in as well. So those are the guys that will start in group stage 2. It's Clem, Spirit, Hewer, Bjorn, Max Pax, Nightmare, Solar, and Laser. It's just a little reward for playing well in our WardiTV events throughout the year so far. I believe this is the 2nd event that Rogue has played in this year. He's not played in much this time around. He's actually quite an online cup frequenter though, so yeah, I guess no surprise to see him playing in one of the bigger ones. This game gets going, just gonna be seeing our drones coming through, our spores setting up. Hellions are on the way. This is actually a fun build from Kelazhur. So he's reacting now at Hellions. He does have 2 racks. It means he's only building 1 medevac at a time, and this is going to be a Hellbat stim attack. Well, Is it going to be Hellbats? It might just be Hellions. He's going to skip the Armory. He doesn't have the gas for the... Oh, he just put the Armory down. I was going to say, it's getting kind of late for the Armory, but he just put it down now. So yeah, this is going to be actually one of my favorite builds. I love cranking this out on the ladder when I play, and, you know, everyone's like, oh, that guy's doing a 2-1-1. I actually quite like moving out with my first medevac and being like, yeah, look, it works for me because it's like, oh no, I'm so bad, I forgot I was supply blocked and my second medevac didn't build or something, you know, and they're like, oh, what an idiot. And then I show up with, like, you know, the Hellions morph into Hellbats, you know, boom, we attack. This is actually interesting because Kelazhur didn't rush into the fight here. I usually fight the moment I have stim, but actually he kind of waits, so it's timed out for him to hit with 2 medevacs still. But obviously he's going to have a lot of Hellbats as well, so this actually could be pretty scary for a rogue without a Baneling Nest. I think this Baneling Nest is too late for him to hold this attack. Double upgrades are very greedy in this scenario. And yeah, these Hellions can morph into Hellbats, and they really should. The longer you wait, the less time you maybe actually have to get use out of these, as Rogue has a ton of time to buy. I don't know how he's going to do it, quite frankly. Queens are dropping by the wayside. This 2-1-1 is just a bit too powerful. You just can't run in with the Lings because the Hellbats are going to be way too good there. And you can just see them roasting those Lings immediately. And now Lings are going to be coming in a few at a time from all sorts of directions. And Kelazhur's already taken a fantastic fight at the start of this best of 5. Game number 1 looking very good for him here. He's going to kill off pretty much every Queen in this army. Is not done yet. Rogue types out the W, which is basically a single G on the Korean keyboard that makes a G sound. So we'll allow it. And thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And let's dive into game number 2. In the bottom left, taking the first map of the series, our red Terran player is Kelazhur. The build was good. Rogue didn't see it. And, well, hence it's a 1-0 lead. Best of 5, though. Long way to go still. Top right, our blue Zerg here is Rogue. I'll say now the next few maps are a little bit weird, right? I mean, you've got to play Waterfall isn't exactly great for you as a Zerg. Very short map. Stargazers has that in-base Terran might like a little bit. Tough to get to the Zerg based on Stargazers. Inside and out, it's not quite nice for Terran. You know, there's a good few maps here for Kelazhur, and that was also... Okay, it was at least Kelazhur's server preference for map number 1, so this is now Rogue server preference, going to West for map number 2. Fun, fun, fun. You get LAN all the time. It's just like, you never know if everything's lowercase and stuff, right? Hey, thank you for the donation, mate. You know, if it had the M7 after, I would have known, but... it's a bit wonky nowadays, the Stream Elements one. Ay. So yes, guys, best of 5 here, and Kelazhur striking first in the series is obviously very fun. You'll see Rogue is being very cautious about proxy racks, really checking the corners, and not sending Overlord straight across the map either. Just, it's a short enough map where I guess you don't need to send them straight across as well. But yeah, these pathways absolutely suggest he does not want to die to a proxy here. He 100% wants to see a mid-game. I imagine Rogue's going to start playing pretty safe in this series after that game number 1 fiasco. Two Queens, 4 Lings, all on the way out. And now 6 Lings, so 6 Lings defend the Reaper. The drone gets across just before the Reaper arrives, so the timing there is pretty swift and neat. And we are going to fight with the few Lings here and that Reaper, so the skirmish will go back and forth. Queen will solidify this position generally. Extra 2 Lings make it a lot easier as well. Reaper didn't get the target fire on that low HP Ling, same again. And yeah, nice control from Rogue. Has to use a lot of HP on the Lings, but doesn't lose a single thing, all said and done. That's obviously a nice little W. Koreans should never have to play on the Central America server, should always be West. Well, I will counter that argument and say Europeans should never have to play on the West American server. It should always be Central. And that's almost like what the situation is, and so then it's almost like it makes sense that we swap one way then the other way. Because, for the most part, Central is just as bad for Korea as West is for Europe, so... And we don't have a Central West in between, so what are we gonna do? Koreans just have a natural advantage every time we play games online against Europeans? Kinda silly. Oh. Maybe. Someday. To be fair, there was a while where the Central server was actually being quite bad for Korea, but I don't think it's anywhere near as bad as it was now. was like a while where some Koreans actually just couldn't play on Central at all. I had a couple of players drop out of tournaments because they just said I can't play Central. But it's not really been that bad for a while. It's very much so just I think Central's about 180-ish ping. West is like 140 or so. Europe is about 150 to Central, 180 to West, something like that. Aliens in the Reaper from Kelazhur, and in the top side, just going to be having our Cloak on the way, Stimpack, Banshee, all of this being brought out for the moment. If it's NA versus Korea, then you find it unfair for Korea for Central. Well, nobody plays NA versus Korea on Centrals, so I feel like you're basically in agreement with the normal rules. I don't know where the topic of conversation is really coming from. I feel like we're all agreed. I guess maybe Kelazhur is in Europe, in case that's confusing. Kelazhur lives in the Netherlands, so that's why it's EU versus Korea rules here. Anyways, enough of that because Banshees are coming up, Cloak is coming online. And it's going to be... Ooh, Hellions actually do get in there. 3 drones, but you lose a Hellion? I don't hate it. The first Banshee cloaking up. This was not a lair yet, so this is really reliant on the spores, which the one in the main just finishes in time here, so just going to be able to utilize that as our Banshee escapes away. And again, ripping the Hellions. Still just sat out in the center for the moment. Gonna drop a grenade down, the Queens get bopped a little bit, and we have all the extra racks coming up from Kelazhur. He does have a 3rd CC already, so just getting up to his 5 racks production to really power through into the mid-game. His factory lifts off, going to move to the tech lab. And again, just waiting for this Stimpack to finish here in a few moments' time. As the 1-1 continues on through. Extractor's going to be finishing on up. Drone's going to jump in over there. And Rogue now going to play off the fast upgrades that Lair and Bane on so is just going to play kind of Ling Bane. And the real question, I suppose, becomes Ling Bane what? Pure Ling Bane into maybe a fast Hive and Ultras? Plausible, small map, play a lot of units, kind of stops some of the aggression a bit more easily. Mutas seems unlikely on a small map like this. I feel like you'd open yourself to way too many kind of bad situations. Oh, good position here for Kelazhur. Going to find some really good damage onto these Queens. Doesn't get any kills, unfortunately. That's unfortunate. I feel like you could have maybe chased one for a kill if you really wanted it, but didn't find the opportunity. Now he'll actually lost the Banshees. He loses 8 SCVs. The run by on the 3rd. Pretty deadly, and the Hellion's not there in time to defend, so losing a few SCVs there, bringing Rogue back into a worker lead for the moment. Do have our combat shields finishing up soon. The 1-1 is going to be finishing soon as well. Armory is on the way as well, so we can start 2-2. I don't say, I feel like if Kelazhur didn't take that damage to the run by, this would have been pretty nice for him, no? Like, he would have been in a great eco position for sure. That would have been kind of wild. I would have actually loved to see how this game goes without that run by hitting so hard. I'm genuinely kind of curious now as we... I mean, I guess now it's happened, but yeah, it felt like Rogue was actually way behind on workers. I didn't even really notice that he was. It kind of felt like it wasn't that bad for him, right? Yeah, apparently it really was, so... Yeah, good that Rogue gets some damage done, gets to even out the game a little bit, as now we get 2-2 upgrades on the way for him. And the Baneling speed is coming online, so all of this setting up. Could be off away shortly. Into some action. Kelazhur's already pushing the top, but I don't think this drop's going to be that exciting. Kelazhur does start +2 armor before +2 attack. So +2 attack not long afterwards, but does get that armor going first, which is a bit funky. Ooh, a little run by on this natural is going to hurt. There's actually no wall on the main base because of how Kelazhur opens, so he actually doesn't have the main base wall, which is... It just means you've got to be really careful, because the moment you get broken into your natural, you have, the Zerg has access to your main as well. That can be very scary. He's actually going to clean up a lot of these Lings at least, so every single Ling there goes down. I don't think Kelazhur will be too upset about that. Just going to be seeing our Banelings continue to morph in. And do have the army over here is actually going to get caught. Ling Bane is going to come through the tanks. Obviously, we're not ready to siege, but I don't think Kelazhur minds again because this fight is off creep, so you can kind of just stand and fight the Banelings I don't like that trade at all for Rogue. He's going to lose an Overseer here as well. Apparently some fire falls from the sky. And if nothing else, Kelazhur's going to get a change clean out a chunk of creep. But maybe he's going too far forward because the next round of Baneling's already set to go. Can the tanks deliver? Some big connections on these Banes. We get just about off creep now. And honestly, still was a reasonable trade out here for Kelazhur. Now moving to the top as our Marines are going to go and work their way into this 12 o'clock. I mean, this is what I thought Kelazhur might have wanted to get to instead of clearing out that creep on the bottom side. Now he doesn't really have any tanks, so it's hard to hold a position and everything. And this is just pure Ling Bane out of Rogue. I suggested that might be how he plays. Kind of expect to see an Infestation Pit by now, though, as this tank is unfortunately just a little bit out in the open. Banshee will maybe do what it can against a few of these Banes. Kelazhur needs to get his actual army units out of those medevacs and onto the ground once more. Oh, no. Well, yeah, the natural, like I say, is such a weak point because of no wall off into the main base. The units getting into the natural is really bad. The SCVs just turned around into the Banelings. The orbital command survives at least, but this was a lot of eco damage taken for Kelazhur. He's going to tap out. It's got a little out of hand. Some good fights for Kelazhur, but at the very end, just not quite enough. And let's see how it plays out. In the top right-hand side, a yellow Terran player. Team Liquid's Kelazhur. Fighting the blue Zerg from Dragon Phoenix Gaming, Rogue. I see people saying, was Kelazhur dead? Yeah. The problem is he loses so much economy. The Lings are still around. He doesn't have a fourth base setup either, right? In HSC, every Zerg vetoed this map. Yeah, Rogue vetoed Cosmic. I was kind of interested about it, and I'm kind of thinking why it might be like good for Zerg, and I'm like, well, if you expand downwards, maybe the Terrans can't get to it, but the problem is the Terrans can split this map so easily, and then you're basically fighting for the gold base as your like extra base over the Terran. I think that's the real issue. It's like late game, you can't really steal a base from the Terran, so you've just got to take this gold, but because it's a gold, it doesn't actually help you because it doesn't matter how fast you mine it, it's how many minerals are there, and because it's a gold base, it doesn't have as many patches. So actually, late game in a trade-off against Terran, you have to basically find a way to not let them mine their 6 base setup, and then you've got to play with kind of 6.6 3/4 bases, which the Terran can generally out-trade. So, yeah, typically this is not really a good Zerg map. Obviously, the Terran love the in-base. The only thing I can say is like maybe like hitting these bases early is hard to push to, but if the Terran's comfortable late game, then I think this is a very, very rough map for the Zergies. Command center into the in-base location, so that's always neat because then you can kind of not worry about any sort of early pressure with like Lings or anything, right? So there's going to be a Reaper open and it'll move across the map. Rogue does just go hatch first as well, so it's not like that was going to really be an issue, but you know, you got to mention it. It is a possibility. It is something that can happen. Drop a grenade, and these few Lings are going to chase after the Reaper already. Reaper taking a few shots, and Lings will actually have one loss early in the game. So Reaper low HP, but has a kill. Nice to cut down one Zerg, I suppose, but again, not really a huge deal. Pulls back away from the Queen. The last thing you want to do is that Reaper to take more damage and actually to be close to dying, right? So good to stay away from that. Reaper just backs away and is going to loop around and try and pick up more information. Third hatchery is online. It's good to just check that as well, right? Make sure you're not playing against some kind of crazy 2-base, which, in fairness, if there's a player that sometimes brings out crazy 2-bases, Rogue can be that player, right? We're gonna hop up and check out the main. There's not really much to be done in this main base at the moment, as we have the Reaper getting pushed away straight away. Starport still coming through, and the CC aliens will continuing out. The two Hellions will set up around the left. Obviously, with the Hellions, you have a little bit more kind of chance to kind of dive on in and stuff as the Terrans, so that opportunity will definitely arise. Alien's poking around on that queen. Just going to come around this side. Maybe a creep shimmer. Actually does grab that. Nice. Goes for the second one. Gets that too. Wow. That's great. I swear they were done and not visible, but he gets the kill on both of them. I was kind of shocked by the first one. The second one written down, I was like, what? Because the second one was spreading like a little bit later as well, so it was just that split-second difference. Italians actually run around towards the top side now, and they find quite a few of the lings. I think Kelazhur is going to deep dive. This is obviously a bit of a gamble. If there's more lings coming, he's going to be in trouble. But the drones are pulling to fight this. 7 workers down. 8. Oh my god, the drones have a surround that can actually defend. The Hellions got caught. If the Hellions are free into the main base there, this is so many more drones going down. I don't actually think these 2 Hellions should dive. Keep a couple Hellions up to maintain some map control. And obviously 2 Hellions running in. They're going to die to the Queen so quickly. It just isn't worthwhile as well, so... This Viking wants to try and grab that Ovi, but will not quite be able to. Yeah, Liberator shows up as well. Spore's obviously just about to finish, but starts to move into position. Second drone because it popped out of the extractor. And if Rogue's not watching, that could have been a queen kill as well. Yeah, we actually get one more drone kill, and that's actually a queen. Oh my goodness, I didn't get the shot off. I thought we were going to get the queen there at the end. We are going to try and run Hellions into this third base. The lings are there, but the Hellions are here, so they can actually just target fire down some drones and up this to 9 kills again. Now, Kelazhur has built more Hellions than usual, so... And he's lost everything, right? He built 10 Hellions, usually you'd build 6 to 8. That does then delay your extra barracks and so on. So, and now you've got no map control as well, so while the resource lost is even... And killing drones is generally nice. I'm not sure how much I do love it for Kelazhur, because it does feel like now, I mean, run-bys are going to be a bit more of a problem. These lings already see that they can maybe go in and just fight what is a low number of Marines here. Yeah, I mean, okay, in this case, the Marines are able to push it back, fight back, not too much of an issue. Let's get up to the top side, going to take the tower, and just going to be having, again, that bottom left-hand hatchery on the way up for the moment. As you can see, the supply lead from killing all those drones. Yeah, I mean, obviously 20 drones is a nice amount of drones. I'm like sat here thinking about what I've been saying. I'm like, I'm just worried because, like, you know, when you lose all these Hellions in the lib, it's like, well, does that not just give Rogue control to maybe get back in it? 20 drones probably is beyond the point of that really mattering too much, though, so yeah. Not all that crazy as these Marines move through. Gonna go for a Ling. Gonna grab that straight away as we have our Marines and medevacs continuing out over the left side. Creep spread being scanned is gonna get picked off here, so quite a lot of creep going down instantly as we'll get nearly another creep tumor there. Obviously, I mean, that's the benefit that, you know, Kelazhur's created for himself. He's actually got a pretty good upgrade lead. I've just seen a Corruptor being built alongside Mutas, so I think the Corruptor's probably just a misclick. Can't imagine a world here where we really want to build a Corruptor as the Mutas show up to get a gas right away. Oh no, the medevacs are too far ahead. The watchtower is seen by the Ling. Wow, he actually keeps both the medevacs alive, but obviously now you can't lift up to evacuate, which obviously would have been the real goal here. Actually, he showed up though from Kelazhur. He's had time to work his way out of trouble there. That actually is going to work out for him. Wow, that is actually pretty neat from Kelazhur. Good play. Obviously kind of ran himself into the trouble, but found his own way out as well, so... I'm just going to repair this turret, and it does not look like the Mutas are going to get through that at all unless we stop repairing it, because the SCVs walked away. That's so annoying, right? It hits full HP, and then you stop repairing, so you've got to get it ready to repair again. And that's what actually lost you the turret there and created this opportunity to get into the base. The medevacs drop Marines here to flank, but... Man, the medevacs are low. They've got to play carefully as well. You do not want to be losing them. Medevacs are kind of expensive, you know? to the main. The mutas continue to try and dive by for some damage. We've killed 17 SCVs now, so the damage has definitely stacked up as a couple of Widow Mines continue through the south side. Bane's actually going to take some hefty damage here. The Widow Mine shots, well, the first one was really good. No medevacs though, and without medevacs it's so hard to do much here. There's a missile turret again, going to get some shots off on mutas, and 21 SCV's dead. We've got a Widow Mine here that goes off on a Queen. It just absorbs a shot, and this is now going to get cleaned out by Ling Bane. Honestly, a medevac down that bottom side. Maybe we could have fought those Lings that got the wraparound in the end. I feel like that was absolutely a world, a realm of possibility. Army of Kelazhur continues around down to the south. Just going to go diving onto the turret and just going to be seeing the SCVs being picked off. We do kill off the gold at least. So obviously Kelazhur is kind of holding on to only 4 bases now. I don't think Rogue is in a rush to get the gold right now. Yeah, the earlier you get it, the better. Let's see what else Kelazhur can do down the bottom side. Pretty much the entire army of Rogue should be here. That Widow Mine's going to be huge. You can just see it coming from a mile away. The Banes were all rolling in a clump. They had no vision to get the Widow Mine either. That almost felt like it was just guaranteed to do mega damage. Meters through the top, coming through. Missile turrets continue to come online. Extra turrets all coming up right now. Time meters will come back down towards the center. Nice to clean up some of these mines that are kind of out here a bit randomly as well, right? Because that's what Kelazhur is kind of hoping on as well. It's like, oh, I can hit a couple good mine shots, get some leverage out of nothing. Just to be able to shut that down straight away, I think. Yeah, I mean, at this point as well, Kelazhur is obviously trying to keep on expanding. Extra bases are coming online. Look at this, the point of view of Rogue, and you're like, well, game is in a bit of a funky state. He's still behind a lot of upgrades. I mean, catches like this are huge, though, because this is where upgrades don't matter if you just get completely outnumbered. There's actually pretty nice turnaround for Kelazhur by waiting until he could lift up the 2 medevacs of units. He actually makes something out of this. I mean, that should have been all of those units on the bottom side lost, but then, like I say, you survive with, like, well, 20 supply that maybe you shouldn't have done to start the fight with, and it starts to look a lot better, a lot quicker, right? So, turns out pretty okay, too. Yeah, quite a few interesting moments in these games. Uh-oh, the medevac count is high, and they've just run headfirst into Mutalisks, and that's obviously far from ideal. The Widow Mine going off, connect on the mutas a little bit, nothing really major there, some very minor damage being dealt. So if you've seen these mutas up to the top side, we'll clear out the watchtower, and it does still feel like Rogue has a lot of the map control. And he's on his way to them 2-2 upgrades, but Kelazhur's on his way to his 3-3, so still competitive when it comes to the upgrades. Widow Mines and Marauders doing great jobs against the Balins, and it allows a lot of these Marines to just kind of stand here and fight now. Lip's going to get set up too, and I mean, these Banes can't do enough off creep, running up a ramp, there's no way. He kills off the final few Marauders in the front. Rogue is instantly rebuilding 70 Lings to get back on track, though. It's got to feel kind of bad, no? I mean, it's just, it just feels like Rogue has enough to just go. I mean, as long as Kelazhur trades well, but the trades aren't even great for Kelazhur. 14.6 to 13.2k. Considering Kelazhur's been up on upgrades, you would have expected this to have been looking way better for him. Maybe in the Ghost phase of the game, because we are getting there. As the Ultralisk Cavern comes online, it is time for Kelazhur to think about a Ghost Academy and getting the Ghost count up a little bit. You really do need those Ghosts to help you through the Ultras. Obviously, Ultras with an upgrade deficit aren't great, so you've got a bit of time still, as Kelazhur, a bit of leeway to, when you're really maybe in trouble against those Ultralisks. Obviously, Adrenal Glands is coming online as well. These mutas have been deadly, honestly. They've just showed up repeatedly and taken down turrets, opened up bases to be attacked. This Overlord is going to find some creep spread denial as well, and Rogue is honestly playing a monstrous game. He's playing really all over the place. Like, he's had moments in the early game that weren't so hot, but honestly, after the early game, he's been pretty freaking good. He honestly had one fight which maybe didn't go as well for him as it should have done, and I think that was actually just a cute move out of Kelazhur that kind of baited him into you know, it was a fight that Rogue was winning, and Kelazhur turned it into a fight that he was able to basically 180 on and say, hey, look, I'm actually winning this one. But in general, I mean, did it matter? Because, again, Rogue's control of the game seems so commanding. You know, I mean, we're sat here with a Rogue that's not ever been not maxed out for a long time at this stage. Money banked up, a lot of drones to work with. His tech is improving as he moves into ultras. He has eaten a few big mine shots. He's been fairly good at clearing up some of the random mines on the map, but there's also been moments where the mines have hit like units when they've kind of been in a battle he should have been paying attention to as well. So in that regard, it's not been perfect at a Rogue, and Kelazhur is going to start pushing now. He does have a larger army supply here, remember, so Rogue needs to be able to find a way to trade, rebuild, and trade again, which is often the Zerg way. Generally wants to do that with creep spread to allow these Banelings to get in, blow up, and get a new round of Banelings ready. That's where Rogue really will find success usually in these fights. As a Widowmine spots this flank, you can't run into that though. The bottom side army isn't there at all from Rogue, so it seemed like a cool flank, but there was just no main army to actually be flanking with. So again, not ideal as a few Banes sit burrowed up. Final army comes pushing through. Some creep spread is getting knocked down. There you go, big fight. A lot of the Banes hitting the Thors. Feels like a lot of Marines survived this first wave. There's a lot more Banes ready to go, though. That's always a good sign for the Zerg that the next round of Banelings is ready. By the time the first lot of them have been used, it means you're basically ahead on your production cycle, right? So you're already set to fight again. It should just mean the Terran can't just kind of engage straight into you. Let's see what these Banes can provide. This time I think these Thors are going to die, and that's a lot of supply from Kelazhur that's going to start disappearing. The Mutas actually come back to join this fight, which I love, because this is going to turn into pretty much just medevacs here. And he gets a few of the medevacs. The Thor low HP, and he sees the medevac with it in. That's 8 supply knocked down out the sky as well with that target fire. Yeah, I like that. The Middlers can only get 10 now, not as scary as it once was, but I don't think it needs to be. The Mutas have been finding more and more trouble getting proper damage done. Getting them into that fight and trading out for a few medevacs, I think, is absolutely great, and it allows for more Lingbane Ultra on the map, and that's what Rogue wants right now, an army which can just swarm the Terran army after he's been using those Mutas all game long to create inefficient situations for the Terran player. Kelazhur has now traded 3,000 resources better off, but Rogue does have that gold base online. That's the last base that Rogue will take this game, of course, as long as nothing gets denied, so I'll kind of on that countdown for Kelazhur, where if you can just trade well enough and basically out-trade the gold base income, he might be okay. My problem for him is he still doesn't have Ghosts, though. And it does feel like against these Ultras, you kind of want to have Ghosts. Now, one Ultra maybe isn't an issue. That's a shit ton of Banelings. Holy crap, he's just going to blow up the Planetary. The SCVs there pull a little bit late as well. I mean, this was very expensive for Rogue, though. The Ultras on the top side getting demolished at the same time, so Kelazhur did not just sit there and wait to die. He denied the Ultra push on the top, so yeah, this is actually a horrible moment for Rogue. He loses a good amount on the top. The Baneling count on the bottom, like, yeah, you got the Planetary and the SCVs, but it was a lot of Banelings, and it was more Banelings than you would have needed just to blow up the Planetary, because a few of them rolled towards the bio and got killed. A few of them sat in the corner at the very end. Say obviously Rogue not having a gas bank is kind of an issue as well. He's got a lot of minerals, but no gas, so he is limited in what he's able to rebuild and stuff too. He's getting a couple of spines up. I believe that's protection down towards the gold base. Try and secure that area as easily and quickly as possible. Bane Ultra back through the center of the map. Bioforce on the right here is moving around as well, figuring out how it's going to try and fight this as the Ultras and the Banes are going to engage in. Ghost getting a couple snipes off, so we're finally on those Ghosts. Widowmine seemed pretty good initially. The Banes flanking do absolutely nothing. Kelazhur's taking a decent fight. Can he get rid of these Ultras? We're going to stem forward to see if we can. There's one Ultra that should at least die. There's a Widowmine that might get it. Oh, Widowmine gets blown up. Ah, man, this Ultra is still alive. I was convinced this one low HP Ultra would at least go down. Here are the Ghosts. Their snipes are going to be invaluable in this moment. They actually might turn this fight around, these Ghosts, being able to snipe down some of these Ultras really quickly. As Kelazhur, oh, he just doesn't, he's still got snipes available, he's not able to use them. The Planetary bottom right, the new one that's just replaced the base that got busted down, is just not holding on, I don't think. These Ultras will finally die. Okay, this base is holding on. The few SCVs repairing it are going a long way. And this Ultra will die too, so Rogue losing out at the very end. And Rogue's rebuild is a lot of Ling Bane, only 2 Ultras on the map. So it's just a lot of low-tech units, maybe trying to take advantage of Kelazhur now building Ghosts, but I don't feel like Kelazhur has too many Ghosts anyways. He's going to be on 3 Ghosts, which is actually fine for 2 Ultras. And Kelazhur's army is actually still very good. He's going to come pushing in through the bottom side. In we go. Bioforce comes in. Spines are going down. The Ultra is going to get blown up by mines a little bit. There's the snipe to follow up. Oh my god, the Ghost on the top side dies. The Bane's going to crash into this planetary. Again, that's expensive right now for Rogue, though. Like, very army expensive. Good split from Kelazhur last second, but he gets it. He doesn't save the Ghost again. Just some of these Ghosts going down in these skirmishes would be lovely to keep alive. He loses a lot on the bottom side as well, as we do have these Lings streaming in. Kelazhur just has to get out of here for now. Maybe fight with the planetary. There's no splash damage here, so the planetary might be able to create a hold. Obviously, Kelazhur is just working with what he's mining, so he really needs to just have a bit of time so he can afford the reinforcements, whereas Rogue is still just working through that mineral bank. Yes, not a lot of gas, but a lot of Ling spam at the moment has been going a long way for him anyways, so this is Bio Army setting up, a couple changes, shot down immediately. And on we go as this army from Rogue is going to try and look to end this game. Can Kelazhur take a good enough fight here? Wouldn't mind topside, looks good. The Ultras are going to be the backbone of this army that will be difficult to break as the Ghost Count now I don't believe exists. Overseers are tanking the Widowmine shots. The Banelings are shutting down the base. I do not think Kelazhur has what he needs to break back out of this time around, unfortunately. This is GG's, and Rogue goes up 2-1 on Stargazers. Wow, I mean, honestly, we are continuing to be blessed by great series so far in this tournament. Day 2, and honestly, like this as well, we do want to run the WardiTV European League in September. We want to run the Korean League while DreamHack is on, so you guys can have some extra content. And we've obviously got at the end of the year WardiTV 2022, big end-of-year event that will summarize the year of WardiTV. But now, though, it's time to talk about proxy racks, because in the top right, our Red Zerg Rogue is going to be under attack from 1 and 2 SCVs of Kelazhur from Team Liquid, the yellow Terran bottom left corner. Rogue was so careful about watching for proxy racks on Waterfall, the other small map we've played on so far. This time around, as it is hatchery first, we are going to see this Overlord on a pathway to scout this barracks. Now, sometimes Zerg players love to change the direction of this Overlord at the last second and miss the scout. Rogue doesn't do it. He's going to see 1, and he's going to see 2. And just to confirm, Kelazhur does not see that he's been scouted. So Kelazhur doesn't know this, although he will when the drones show up to try and deny these barracks. Kelazhur has a 3rd Rax coming online as well. That's something that you don't know about, to be fair, as a Rogue. You don't know about the 3rd Rax yet. Let's see, here come the drones to try and cause chaos over here, try and slow this down a little bit and make Kelazhur's life a little bit miserable. When we get this SCV, 2 drones able to hit it at once. The second SCV will continue the Rax production straight away, but now a bunch of SCVs will hit this drones will hit this SCV. Kelazhur taking some hefty damage. This barracks over here is spotted as well, so we know about barracks number 3. Right now, the goal is to keep an SCV alive, so you can obviously get this SCV over here to finish this barracks. This is already Rogue slowing this down a lot. Of course, he needs to, because he's pulled 5 drones to be able to do this. He did go pull before gas, which obviously speeds up his production of Lings a little bit too, so it's another bonus. I think Rogue now realizes it is time for him to head home with these drones and prepare his defense here. It is 3 racks, guys. I mean, I'd like to see maybe even a spine added on. Yep, okay, he does that exactly with the 100 minerals as he gets back with these drones. Yeah, spine added on, Queens and Lings. Obviously, there's no early bunker here, so that is a bonus. We do have 3 SCVs ready to try and get bunkers up, though, to try and help these Marines fight. As Rogue, you just want to buy a little bit of time right now. Don't get too over eager. Okay, drone Ling is fine as well. I mean, the thing is, the Queen pops in time to deny the bunker, so I don't think we have to focus too much on that bunker. We will lose 1 drone here getting the cancel, so going to reset that timer. Of course, Spine's coming up. That's only going to improve things. The Queen takes a few shots before it gets pulled back, though. And the second Queen coming along as well. Obviously, now can together work through this bunker very easily. The Spine's going to move forward, and this looks like a really solid defense from Rogue. I was going to say, I think Kelazhur has one option here, which is to pull the SCVs and just full commit straight away. And I just saw it happening on the mini-map. The SCVs are on the way across the map, so yeah, I think that was pretty much his one option here, because obviously this has not gone well, but Rogue is very aware. And this is very likely how he would die. So he starts a second spine crawl. It looks very unlikely that Kelazhur will break through here, and it looks as though Rogue is going to advance straight through to the Group Stage 2, round of 16 of this tournament. Here we go, SCVs move forward, Marines as well, going to go after this first spine crawler. Transfusion is going to be dropped. The Queens are going to be trading with everything here at the front. And, well, second spine becomes very important. Drone's trying to do some extra damage. Oh my god. He's done it. Holy shit. Alright, we're going to game 5. Wow, that was bonkers, no? That was a horrible fight for Rogue. I feel like with this preparation, this shouldn't have happened. Was this just... Do you guys think it was just too much drone pull early? So this fight starts. Obviously, second spine isn't ready. The Lings are so caught up. I mean, look at this position for the Lings. It's horrible, right? And these Lings just don't really get into the fight at all for such a long time. By the time the Lings start fighting, the spine's like 3/4 dead. The Queen's already transfused. It's a horrible fight for the Lings. They just cannot get into position at all. And then the Marines are just able to do so much by the time. I mean, the Lings never get past the SCVs. Jeez, that was a horrible fight. Out of Rogue. And here's building up right corner. It's 2-2. Our blue Zerg player from Dragon Phoenix Gaming is Rogue. And in the bottom left, our red Terran player this time is going to be Kelazhur. If you drone up that hard, can you sack the natural and take the spine the high ground? Probably, but obviously you got to have the spines in position on the high ground. And what's the point of droning up that hard if you're going to give up your natural, right? Yeah, the Terran pulled every single SCV, so in theory, you know, if you just survive, you're generally good. But why would you be looking to defend the main base if you're droning up that hard, right? So that's definitely a question mark in the logic, I suppose. I think even if outdrawn, you have to sacrifice your second base? No. No. The fight was just awful for Rogue. Like, none of his Lings got to fight for the first 5 or 6 seconds. Like, if his Lings get past the Queens and onto the Marines right away, it's a completely different fight, because the Marines are target firing the Spine Crawler. So, the Marines, when they target fire the Spine Crawler, the Lings are meant to be able to basically get free damage off. Or, the Lings get hit, and then the Spine Crawler is going to be on much better HP and gets a lot more shots off, right? So you don't have to give up the natural. There's been plenty of times where 3 racks SCV pull gets held on the natural. It was pretty quick on the SCV pull, I would say. Like, Kelazhur didn't really hesitate to pull SCVs. That probably helped him, but I think the biggest part of it truly was just the fact that the Lings just didn't get into the fight. And yes, obviously the drones behind it don't help. But like, even if the Lings get into the fight, I think that's a much closer situation, and maybe even then still winnable for Rogue. For sure. Game number 5. As I get this one up and rolling, drone SCV gonna have a look at each other. A couple Queens, few Lings, all getting set here. 6 Lings once again. Gonna drop that hatchery down. The Reaper shows up from Kelazhur. So far, pretty standard game number 5 for the moment. The Reaper getting off onto a few of those Lings. A bit of damage being done. The Lings coming through looking for this Reaper. Not quite going to find it. Oh my god, that Reaper is so low. Obviously, you do not want to lose the Reaper. It's nice to keep that alive. So important to actually pull that back and keep it safe there. Definitely a nice little positive. Always good to keep your Reaper alive, guys. So, Kelazhur does manage just that, though. So, all good. And the Reaper just going to take a few more shots off the Queen as it holds the low ground for a little while, so... Yeah, just got this going on. Again, a little bit of setup here for this game number 5. Road Tron coming down from Rogue, though, so, I mean, kind of a wild time to drop in some Roaches, especially if you're going to go for, like, a Road Troll-in or something. Game 5, but, I mean, that's sometimes when it works the best. Kelazhur here is playing a fun little build himself. 3rd CC now into triple gas very quickly. His starport finishing soon. I wonder if Kelazhur has any intention of playing Mech. That triple gas is just so quick. Definitely feels like 3cc battlecruiser. If nothing else, Viking starts to get a fusion core going with your next little bit of gas that comes online. Problem is, it's going to take a very long time to get a BC up against these roaches. So then you've got to kind of defend without that. There's the fusion core coming in. I mean, this is typically why when you're playing a BC opener, you typically start, you get the tech lab on the starport, and then while the fusion core is building, you start a Banshee. And then if you see roaches, you can let the Banshee finish, and if you don't see roaches, you just cancel the Banshee and start the BC. Let's see if Kelazhur can find that opportunity, because, yeah, these roaches are popping out, and if Rogue moves them across the map right now, I feel like Kelazhur is in some serious trouble. So let's see if he decides to go all the way out the other side. It's going to start moving at least. And the Hellions miss it as well. The next Hellions at least will see it though. So Kelazhur sees it now. There is still time to start the Banshee. I mean, the tech lab just finished, so you start a Banshee now. Problem is, usually Banshees are good against roaches when they can catch them halfway across the map, and then the roaches are at least low HP or picked off a bit by the time they get there. Let's see what Kelazhur can do. He is, of course, 3cc, so he is going to have good work of reduction behind this. Looks like he's already looking to just defend the main, give up the two SCVs low ground. That's fine, because obviously you get the natural back when the Banshee pops out. The roaches eventually give up that position, so it's not like you're giving up this position forever. I like this too. Use the SCVs in the back as bait to get the Hellions over here and get those in the main base. Nice little Reaper Grenade allows you to pick up the first roach pretty much for free, and really just using his buildings to tank while the Hellions deal damage. It's a very solid defense so far here from Kelazhur. Yes, it's slowing him down, but now he's going to be able to start his BC post-Banshee. And yes, Rogue is droning like crazy, but I mean, Rogue at some point has to stop droning to build units again, because this Banshee's going to pick off a fair few roaches. These roaches actually turn around and try for one more SCV. The Hellions are going to come in and, yeah, just try and get rid of roaches as quickly as possible. We do lose one more worker here. And there's a Hellion as well, which is maybe a little sloppy, maybe avoidable. SCV production continues to crank on out for the moment. Again, all of these SCVs still on the way through. And a few Hellions make their way out through the center of the map as well, heading to the upper right-hand side. Again, it's really about this BC and preparations for this BC. Well, there's only 4 queens, right? Because of the way this game opens with all these roaches. So that's actually really good news for Kelazhur, is that he's got a bunch of queens that are not in position, not joined up, and not in the numbers they should be. Also, we do have spores because there's a Banshee, right? So you're expecting maybe Cloak Banshees to show up. They're still not building extra queens, and we just lost one. And here's the BC. This is actually a pretty big issue, guys. I mean, extra queen starts up now. Hellions against these Lings should do okay. If we can get rid of the roaches, the Hellions might be able to do very well, as Kelazhur brought everything across the map to do whatever he can. The roaches recognize that obviously they can't fight the BC, so they're going to try and chase the Hellions down, really stop those from getting in a mineral line. Can Kelazhur find more with this BC? I really feel like he should be able to, start working his way through a couple of these queens. He will land the Viking even, and he's actually going to get rid of the 2 queens that currently stand on the map. There are 3 new ones on the way, right? But he's got a second BC start, and Yamato's going to finish. He's going to be able to shoot down the next queen that spawns. Hellbat's defending against roaches back on the other side, and Kelazhur is keeping this game very interesting for now as Hellbats continue through. Ravager's getting cancelled as they try and morph in. That's great. Don't have to worry about them kiting you and stuff. That's a defense against the roaches so far. Tanks now in production. BC is actually pulling back a little bit to try and help with what is a continued rally of units across the map from Rogue. And you can see now Kelazhur's caught up on workers because he's obviously stopped Rogue from droning. And he's been able to produce off 3 CCs himself. Enough Hellbats to fight these Lings still. They're going to dry dive for the main base. They do not get in there. The depot raised, so those Lings are going to be blocked from entering. The battlecruiser here to just kill off these last few roaches, and this is a hold from Kelazhur. Of course, Rogue has bought himself the time to get into the Spire, so now Corrupt is on the way out. That's kind of okay for Kelazhur, because Kelazhur now looks at this and says, well, cool, this is kind of where I was meant to be all along, right? I was meant to be in this position. He's not going to teleport across the map, is he? If he teleports across the map, though, he loses the BC, so he has to not do that. He has to recognize that it's been too long. Rogue has had enough time to set up a Spire. He can't go teleporting across, because obviously you want the teleport to be able to teleport away from the Corruptors. Rogue is making Roach Corruptor. Is he going to try and still go like 1-1 Roach Corruptor bust here? I actually don't know if that works after you just give up all of these previous Roaches to buy himself time pulling these BCs back. He is droning in a little bit at least, so it does look as though this is going to be a good little play. Obviously, the PCs can go across the map as long as they have the teleports home. We're going to see a Corruptor here. You model that. Obviously, that's a free kill. Just going to get that straight away. The Corruptors are all across the map, by the way, so it's a little awkward because maybe now the BCs have a chance to get something done, and the Corruptors, well, you know what they're going to do. They're going to try and cause a spray at base, but insta-lift from Kelazhur. I think this is fine. He's going to get out of range of the Corruptors before it dies. So these Corruptors didn't achieve anything here. I think one of them's still attacking. That's very manageable. And now these BCs recognize, well, we can just trade over here. We can just fight for a little bit. CC lands again and did actually have to land again, right? A couple Corruptors showing up. Maybe obviously time to teleport. Wherever you teleport, you got to be careful, though. You got to teleport somewhere that the Corruptors are not just going to be able to dive, and that's exactly what happens, by the way. Over here, this BC teleport into the main. That was the one risk of the Corruptors being on the other side of the map when you teleport. That was very well done by Rogue. He knew that there was going to be the chance for that. This BC teleports, this time he guesses wrong, and he isn't going to find the BC before the SCVs get there for the repair, at least, so... I know Corruptors have their key back, though, and you don't really have any anti-air. Cyclone's on the way, but not ready yet. And this is where we probably lose the game, right? Because now we're not going to be able to actually survive against the Corruptor P. We're going to lose all of our production to Corruptors. Going to lift off, try and move away. Roach Ravager shows up. The tanks are very far back, but obviously you're kind of... I mean, now you can't produce more beyond this as well. I don't even know if Rogue needs to attack right now with the power he has with these Corruptors. He's going to get rid of this battle cruiser here. It's not going to be repaired enough. Kelazhur bringing the full force in this series to Rogue, but it's just not going to be enough. Losing that third CC, going to back away from this position. Again, there's just not really an answer to the Corruptors right now. Like the Cyclones that are building, I'm just not sure they will really matter. Not sure those will really matter at all, to be honest. Mobiles, going to see the tank going down. Yeah. Much Ravager going to try and knock down this set of rocks and, well, just obviously make their future attacks a little bit easier. Obviously, they want to try and find angles where they can hit Ravager battles without taking too many losses. If you start to engage through, going to hit a bunch of battles now on these high ground tanks. I mean, it's not exactly a great fight for Rogue. It's very much so a case of Kelazhur just can't really afford to take any kind of fights because of the base loss, because of the production loss. Again, over time, it does just feel like Kelazhur is unable to really figure out a proper solution to this, I suppose. So we'll see if we can find something as we do have the BC. Gonna get picked off again here. Gets the Yamato off. I mean, that was a new BC, actually, so... New BC showing up for a moment, but... Again, just not enough, not meaningful, not making a difference. This is looking as though we're gonna have ourselves at, game number 5. Go in the way of Rogue, and that means Kelazhur Geralt play in the decider. Tanks continue to fire up a storm. Rogue is taking a lot of damage. Corrosive Files going down on this planetary. Corruptors continue to caustic spray. 9 SCVs going down. The units from Rogue wrap back around the top side. These Felings are trying to get through. Will not be good enough over there to do much, though. We're seeing our extra few Hellbats just morphing in, and I mean, again, Kelazhur will continue to try and defend. Rogue still has money for days. He's got bases coming online. Even if these unit trades are a little bit inefficient, not quite what you need to be to end the game, I think overall it's absolutely still just looking good enough from Rogue to kind of crack through here eventually. And even if he can't crack through, then he can just back up. Like I say, he's got all those other things to kind of set him up. Kelazhur is going to take the 4th base into location, though, so he's going to go push this over on this side and, you know, try and again set back up himself. That's all he can really do right now. Try to survive, try to bring himself to a later stage in this game, if at all possible. We go with the Flitterlings, looking as though they're going to come through here, go jump on top of all of these siege tanks. And again, just try and bust them down. I mean, every time you lose a tank right now from Kelazhur, it's very expensive. He is kind of surviving. Rogue is... I mean, he's got money to spend. He's got lava to spare. Preppers are going to start up the caustic spray, work their way through this planetary fortress. Tanks are firing onto roaches. of more Mutalisks on the way out here from Rogue as well, so continue to bring those Mutas up, and I think that might actually be... There's a few turrets, right? I mean, maybe that's what he's just been waiting for with the money. I mean, he wasn't spending it for a while. Big Muta switch now if he believes he's got enough to kind of chunk through the few defensive turrets, then yeah, I suppose that is not a bad way to try and end this game. Instead of just, you know, low-tech units. Definitely, I mean, it's definitely not something that Kelazhur is super prepared for. His anti-air is ABC, a few turrets, and a Cyclone, right? Like, it's not like he's got a lot, but the turrets are honestly doing pretty well initially. Worked through a few of these tanks at first, getting through those, and well, the Mutas didn't have exactly the greatest first showing in the game. 4 of them went down. Like I say, he gets rid of a few tanks, though. That might just be enough to then open the doors for everything else, right? For the Roach Ling to then actually swarm and succeed. Thor is on the way up, but again, it's just going to take a while for Kelazhur to get set up there as he just continues to take this beat down from Rogue throughout this game. We're just going to turn back around. This BC should just be in trouble. Teleport away. Just gets away. I think the SCVs were repairing that, and that little repair actually helped out. Obviously, the SCVs going down again, though. Kelazhur had a little bit of stability on this base on the 9 o'clock, but with that dying, it does knock you back down. Well, he actually has a 4th base building on the bottom side now, I guess, so he's still kind of in the game. He's still kind of got something going. Lings are going to run forward here. Away we go. As we do have the Mutas continue to pick their way through a bit of everything right now. Missile turrets going down. Yeah, I think this is surely got to be enough from Rogue. Enough Mutas in the sky. There it is. The GG is given. The game will be called, and Rogue is victorious. He moves to the round of